Call to order, City of Negaunee regular meeting, October 9, 2025, 6:30 PM. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Fire prevention, wait. I think so. Just wait too much activity.
Roll call, please.
Thacker.
Yes.
Howard.
Yep.
Chloe.
Here.
Kangas.
Here.
Deep. Ganavate.
Present.
Hillman.
Present. All right, can I entertain a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Support.
John supports. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, moving on, number 5, public comment. 3-minute public comment. I understand there's a lot of you here tonight. Most of it, we all know what the main concern is. But if you have a concern, please stand up to the podium, state your name, your address, and I will allow 3 minutes per statement. And we may or may not address the concerns towards the end of the meeting if necessary. So anyone who is ready for public comment, please.
Question, the rental ordinance, that's for the public
That's
hearing?
coming up.
Okay, thanks.
My name's Larry Martin. I live on Iroquois, 144 in Negaunee. Wondering about our street. It was supposed to be repaired. I think when the original thing came out, we were supposed to be that year, which is 2 or 3 years ago. And now the last one came out last year and it showed us in 2026. I know I've heard we've been put on hold again, and I just wanna know why, and so do the rest of our residents.
So Larry, this is just a public comment, 3 minutes for you to speak.
Right.
There's no back and forth. So,
Okay.
So.
So will we get an answer, or how do we?
No, we can reach out to Nate at the city, get on Nate's schedule, and he'd be happy to entertain your questions.
Okay, well, I know they've looked at it, they've pretty much designed it from what the one guy told me, the engineer, and so we're hoping, but now we'd like to know what happened. Why are we pushed back? Our road is awful.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we'll reach out, or we'll get with Nate and Nate
All right.
will tell you the plan of action.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up.
Dan Lesperance, 106 East Lincoln Street. Obviously, we can, the elephant in the room, a lot of folks from user groups at the ice rink here tonight. Obviously, with no back and forth, I guess, we obviously have concerns about our equipment at the ice arena. And I guess from myself and maybe speaking for a handful of people, I guess at this point, as the user groups of the arena, I think all of us recognize the importance, not only for our kids that play within the association there throughout the winter, but the economic impact that the ice arena has throughout the winter for our newly developed downtown, which we've seen a massive improvement in. I think the ice arena throughout the year, throughout the winter especially, provides a vital resource in those slower times of years for many of those businesses that have reaped some of the benefits of improvements downtown. So I guess from our standpoint, speaking for myself and a handful here probably, is what can we do as a user group, going forward to help ensure that, you know, obviously we're at the precipice of the season right now. So there's probably limited things that can be done. But I guess the big question would be, what as a user group and as an association, could we do to be involved in, making sure that going forward, we're looking at the future health of the facility and doing what we can to make sure that valuable resources that all these young athletes count on and are excited to get started aren't continued to be delayed year after year. We obviously, as a lifelong person in hockey, it's expensive to freeze a floor and play a game on it. So we understand there's cost involved, but we as user groups,
30 seconds remaining.
we just like to know and be kept in the loop on what we can do to help that cause, to make sure that, the health of the facility going forward is looked after. So, thank you.
Very good, thanks, Dan.
Hi. Kristen Wynio, 109 Alice Street. I'm here to talk about the ice arena. I've been coming to meetings for quite some time, and through the years, I think a couple years I've been coming, people have come in and talked to you guys, hey, our compressor, we need this, we need that. Mayor Ilmanen, you were on the city council, a lot of people came in, you guys didn't really address it, now there's a big problem. These kids, what are they gonna do? I don't have kids, but you know what? The ice arena is a good thing. Now that the equipment's been nickel and dimed, what, are you gonna rent compressors to get the floor? What are you gonna do? Millions of dollars on the parks, whatever, Ann Street, crappy, what do? Every order short, you cold patch it, that's it, that's all you do. You guys should have been thinking about, what are you gonna do with these compressors? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna fork out the money to do it? You know what I mean? It's sad, it's very disappointing, and all of you people were on this last year, minus Tracy, you've all heard this, and you didn't do anything. That's all, thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Any further public comment?
Emily Kari, 1095 County Road, PAA. I just wanted to put a reminder out there that the ice arena is not even just for the kids that play hockey, it's really important for those that go to open skate. It's something for the kids in the community to do something in the winter that stays out of trouble, fun, energetic. So I really hope that the city can get it together to help get the compressor fixed, repaired, new, whatever it will take to keep these kids on the ice. Winters are really long here, as you know, so it's important. And again, to reiterate that it brings money to the businesses in the area, because when we have teams come from out of town to play, and in between games, they all have to go somewhere to eat. They go to the restaurants, wherever else. It definitely brings in business. Anytime we go somewhere, I know we always go out to eat. So please do what you guys can, help them out.
Thank you, Emily. Any further public comment?
Paul Storm, 340 North Brown. I'll just kind of piggyback on what Dan already mentioned regarding the ice rink. I think what we would ask for as a user group is just, I think we're willing to help. I mean, we just want maybe more communication, maybe a belief that it is important to you, right? So I guess, I think there's a lot of immediate things, but maybe for us that have real young kids, maybe a vision for it would be nice. I think there's been a vision and it's played out in other areas around town, so maybe that should be part of the long-term plan as well. Because I think the community would get behind it as well. Thank you.
Very good, thanks, Walt. Any further public comment? Closing public comment? You got one? Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Got a weed loader.
Huh?
Got a weed loader.
Yeah, all right. My name's Dan Wolf. I'm from Ishpeming. I own some rentals in town here. I'm here for the rental ordinance that you guys are gonna be voting on later today. As it sits right now, it's actually not legal. Per Michigan law, it states that as long as I comply and tell the tenant that the rental needs to be inspected, per section 7 of Michigan law states that you can't discriminate against me on that. The bigger question we have is why wouldn't a warrant be needed? Because when this inspection is done, if the inspector sees something illegal, he has to go and tattle to the cops and say, hey, there was something illegal going on in that unit. So, like, when he just sees something in plain sight, you know, and he's not checking safety stuff, smoke alarms, smoke detectors, GFIs, all go unchecked during these inspections. So I don't know what, you know, the end all purpose of it. As far as the inspections themselves, why don't we go, you know, a possible solution would be ask the tenant if they would like an inspection. If they go and say, no, go away, put it on the landlord to go and say, well, hey, when you do a change in tenant, you have to go and let us know. And then at that point, if the landlord is scummy and doesn't want you to go in, then at that point, come in and fine the landlord for not bringing it to the attention of the city. And that shouldn't be hard for the city to figure out, because the city owns all the utilities. So every time a tenant goes in or out of a building, the city knows. They get water bill, electric bill, what have you. Right now, the inspections themselves don't do much for actual safety. I set up a bunch of stuff and nothing was found. Well, a bunch of stuff was found, but none of the actual safety stuff I put in and then later fixed was found. So, thank you.
Right up, Dave?
John Rodeo on Lincoln Street in County, and I just wanted to say, as someone who experienced one of the rental inspections, I just felt they were rather arbitrary, as there already is reporting mechanisms in place and pre-inspections before a landlord rents out a property. But that's just my limited experience on the issue.
Thank you.
Brent Nelson, 1021 Pine Street. I just wanted to add a few things about the ice arena. I started playing hockey here in Nagani in 1984. The arena was built in '86. I've been a part of it my entire life. I believe the city of Nagani, since 1998, we've been paying on a millage that funds our parks and rec. Over the last 40 years that I've been involved at that arena, I don't think much of that money that we pay as taxpayers has been put back into that arena. I mean, we have the original ice plant that was in there in 1986 when it was built, and that's why we are having the problems we're having with it today. That seems like a really long time to be waiting on some capital repairs that are needed there. So I just think we should look into that and maybe take some of our funds that we are raising and spread them across all of our recreation stuff within the city. Thank you.
Thanks, Brett.
Hi, my name is Wendy Larson, and I'm the current president of the Upper Peninsula Beach Club. And I know we'll be discussing some of that maybe later. And I just wanted to update those who don't know very much about the Beach Club. Our club is open throughout our core season, which is late December through March. And we typically see about 600 public sliders. During that season, 70% are visitors from outside our county, and including 13 states. Plenty of the people who come are staying here for the weekend or often a week, sort of checking things off their bucket list. And so they're staying in Burbos and Airbnbs and hotels and eating a lot of food. As you can imagine, they're going up the Luge Hill with a 30-pound sled many times for 2 or 3 hours, and so one of the last things they always say to me is like, where can I get food
in Nagani, where's the closest place for a pasty or a pizza. Our club is run and coached by all volunteers. We have 50 members, and we take care of Lucy Hill, including icing the track all day long, which is quite the ordeal. We've estimated that 80 hotel rooms are booked throughout our season. And, like when we've calculated the meals, we suspect that between $18,000 and $20,000 is being spent right here in Nagani on feeding these hungry losers. Sorry, my phone is not cooperating with me. The other additional component of our Luge Club is that we have outreach programs through the, for grades, school, like 4th through 6th graders, and we have Boy Scout clubs that come, and they train on our facility, and in combination with the USLA Luge, we choose a national team that represents our country and the Alps every year. So since 2015, we've sent up to 7 athletes to represent us, and they ranked 4th in the team divisions and 6th in the under 23 division in Europe. And so we're adding to the local sporting community, and we have the opportunity to represent us in Europe as well. I think
30 seconds remaining.
our athletes, this sport was brought over by our ancestors from Sweden and Finland because it's a very popular sport there. In fact, the engineer who designed the Lucy Hill track, Pierre Winberg, was Swedish, and it was constructed thanks to a state of Michigan grant in 1990. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? All right, now close the public comment. Thank you all. All right, moving on. Number 6, public hearings. 6.1, 2026 proposed budget. Dave, background please.
The Nagani City Council has authorized a public hearing on the 2026 city budget for this evening. The Nagani City Charter requires the city budget to be adopted by a resolution of the council at its regular meeting in November. Analysis. The 2026 budget is a comprehensive plan of city activities for the coming year. It includes all proposed expenditures for the general fund, enterprise funds, and various special funds established according to generally accepted accounting practices and governmental requirements. The proposed budget has been posted on our website for viewing. Recommendation: conduct a public hearing and take comments on the proposed 2026 city budget. Alternative: none. This is a mandatory per charter.
All right, thank you, Dave. All right, so what I will do now is I'll open a public comment, public hearing for the 2026 budget. Please, if you have a comment about the 2026 budget, now is your time for public comment. Seeing none, closing public comment. And that's it. Moving on, 6.2, ordinance amendment number 154, rental ordinance, second reading. Dave, background please.
This amendment would add a fine of $500 for procuring a warrant to conduct a rental inspection when a landlord and tenant refuse to consent to the required rental inspection. Recommendation: hold a public hearing, adopt second reading of ordinance amendment number 154, rental ordinance.
All right, I will open public comment for the public hearing for the number 154 rental ordinance. If you have a comment, please step up to the podium, say your name and 3-minute public comment.
Hi, I'm Jeff Plummer, 566 Bluff Street. I've spoken before about the rental ordinance program, which As a citizen, I find it does go against our Fourth Amendment right to privacy in our own homes, and the city is basically treating renters differently, and they're getting differential treatment from those of homeowners. Most of us who are homeowners would not want the city coming through our houses and inspecting, based on a program that does have many arbitrary factors. So tonight's proposal of possibly adding a fine on top of this rental ordinance, in my opinion, is pretty stinging. And I would just ask, does the city want to take a carrot approach to things or a stick approach? I think we need to look at some of these programs as encouraging voluntary inspections, allowing people to opt into them, but the idea of levying a $500 fine, to me is pretty egregious and punitive. And I'd ask the city, is this really the tone our city council wants to set? And is it at all fair to fine a landlord this egregious sum for housing a local citizen who is simply rightfully wishing to preserve their Fourth Amendment rights to privacy? A very enshrined right in our Constitution. So your deliberation on this issue will speak volumes about your understanding of and commitment to our enshrined constitutional principles. I ask you to take this very seriously. Please say no to this unnecessary and divisive fine. Thank you.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Carrie Palmer, 566 Bluff. And again, regarding this rental ordinance, my opinion first is that the whole inspection program should be voluntary, and that forced inspections could be, or rather should be, considered unconstitutional. Renters are being treated as second-class citizens under this ordinance, and as they are denied their constitutional rights under the Fourth Amendment to simply say no if they object to a city inspection. From the Institute for Justice website, although renters are entitled to the same security and privacy in their homes as homeowners, their Fourth Amendment rights are akin to those of free revolutionary colonists under King George III's all-encompassing general warrants. Cities subject renters to mandatory code searches where inspectors, strangers, enter their home without their permission. When a renter demands that the city come back with a warrant, the official can fill out a warrant application listing no individualized probable cause and receive a rubber stamp administrative warrant. Understanding this, the issue at hand is really not about critiquing the current inspection ordinance, but this proposed $500 fine extended to the landlord if he objects to the inspection. Adding an egregious fine on top of this already questionable inspection rental ordinance is a wrong direction when it comes to treating our fellow Negaunee residents and citizens. It's quite unneighborly. In this rare case that the inspector would need to file for an administrative warrant, then the cost should just go to the city, not to the landlord. So I'm urging the city council to please say no to this harsh $500 proposed fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carrie.
I don't enforce our recovery room in the county, the ordinance, the rentals, yes, I see, it's, once again, if anybody's read the Fourth Amendment, you realize what's behind it, and it's just totally wrong. I myself, I own a commercial building in town, half an acre up here on Jackson Street. Commercial business there, but, seeing no help from City Hall, I will keep that part of that building closed. There will be no construction companies going in there to use it for other reasons. I have two houses, two three-bedroom houses that are down. Once a year ago last September, and then the last March another one, and they're gonna stay down. I have Mishta that takes care of the inspections, which I've been working with for 30 years, and they go around and I know what they do. And from what I hear from the inspections that are going on now, they're even testing the batteries for the smoke alarms or the alarms. Are they good, bad, batteries dead, whatever it may be. I know the downspouts for the size of the hot water heaters and everything, I know much more than the 15 questions thing that the inspector took their, open book test. But I'm just sticking up for the other landlords. And I've got one on a land contract, and I've got the state of Michigan checking one, I got Michigan's, on another property. And I've got one where there's people been in there for 20 years, there's 3 guys living there. And they're not gonna let you in that house, that's their house. And I don't care if I gotta tell them, don't pay rent, I don't care, they paid 3 full for that place, or everything's paid for, so it doesn't matter to me, they can live there for nothing, so it won't be a rental. I'm here to stick up for the other rental people, and it's, it doesn't matter to me. But it's, I got 3 places open now, and I can just add more if they want to. This is ridiculous, in the Fourth Amendment, once again, people, if they read it, it's, pay attention, it's, totally against. So, thank you.
Thanks, Randall. Any further public comment?
Hi again, Kristen Radio, 109 Alice Street. We had Dave Nelson come and inspect my apartment. I live in a duplex, I live upstairs, my mom lives downstairs. Dave Nelson did not check any plugs. He didn't check smoke alarms. He didn't check windows. He checked nothing. He walked around, la-di-dee, la-di-da, didn't do anything. Then up in my apartment, he didn't do anything. So if you're coming to do a safety inspection, Dave, you didn't do anything, I'm sorry. You should have. Fire extinguishers, oh, do you have fire extinguishers? You did nothing, it was crazy. And then we got a sticker to put on your cabinet. Do not remove. I don't know. I just don't think it's right. You guys saying you're gonna fine somebody $500 because they won't let you inspect their apartment? It's crazy. Please vote no.
Thank you. Any further comment on the, number 154 rental ordinance? All right, closing the public hearing.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and Council, we're gonna give a brief presentation on what the rental ordinance is, why we have it, and we're gonna answer some of the questions and concerns, excuse me, that arose during the public hearing. So first off, I wanna mention, we're not voting tonight, excuse me, on whether we're gonna have a rental ordinance. We have one. The question at hand is, the people in Negaunee have voted folks in. They've told us on several occasions during our planning sessions for our master plan that they think we need to make sure renters are protected. They set the standard to wanting to have inspections to protect people in our community. Let's be clear, these are not just homes, they are businesses. And like every other business that's a commercial business, they too go through some inspections through the state in some degree. Now, tonight we will be voting on whether the people of Negaunee who already said there's gonna be a standard in our town that says, first, if you own a rental and you're the landlord, you pay a one-time fee of $30 to register that with the city. Second, every 3 years, you'll pay $25 for an inspection. So this is not a money grab to start out with. This is about safety. Dave will go through the inspection here shortly. And questions will be answered about the Fourth Amendment by our attorney in a moment. So the rental code came about because of blight issues, the properties outside, which are covered by the property maintenance code. The rental code covers safety concerns on the inside of the building on behalf of the tenants. There's a 21-point inspection, and Dave will go through that in a second. And you can decide for yourself, council, if having smoke detectors to make sure when a fire starts in a home or an apartment that people can be made aware of that. Or, God forbid, you're in an apartment, me, and next door my neighbor lives to me, and maybe he doesn't have one, or maybe he does, and now my house starts on fire, and his house starts on fire, and we can't get the fire department there in time. It's also looking for other basic issues. It's not our job to check the fire detector to make sure it works. It's our job to make sure it is there. Same thing with the fire extinguisher and other items on that list. That's what's supposed to happen. That's the inspection process. So first off, we have, Dave, how many rentals do we have in town?
We have 406 units total.
406 units total. We've inspected nearly all of them. We're coming to the end. Folks that didn't want us to inspect them in the first place. Folks that have told us there's nothing wrong with their rentals. And upon inspection, every single one of them failed. Okay?
That's about a $12,000
Hey,
month average.
not your time.
The other issue at hand is saying, let's just have it voluntary. Well, we're gonna show you some pictures tonight that shows if we had it voluntary. And I don't know how many people on this council would say, if I tattled on my landlord's definitely not gonna take retaliatory action against me, which is against the law, by the way. They will, and it has happened. That's why there's a law. And to expect people to be upfront and honest about how they're doing their business dealings, we all in this room know that's just not reality. If that were the case, there'd be no police department, there'd be no council, there'd be no government, and everybody'd be living in a symbiotic relationship and everything would be okay. We're human. People make mistakes, people do things wrong, people are greedy, okay? So this ordinance right now, as it stands, is about the protection of citizens, our neighbors, or business that's operating in our community. So Dave, if you would please, let's go through the inspection list.
Yeah, sure, all right. So when I go do an inspection, I'm looking for a variety of things. So premise, that's just seeing if there's abandoned vehicles, overgrown vegetation. I mean, it has to be pretty egregious, right? A bunch of garbage in the yard and stuff like that. Exterior walls, there's no holes. I mean, that's pretty clear and obvious. There's no holes, right? It's watertight. Vent screens. And we just have it in our ordinance down on the attic space to where you're not allowing, varmints to get into the attic. Handrails are a big one I see. Stairwells, treads, making sure the stairs are actually usable. Roof and ceiling, same thing, no leaks. Exterior lighting, having the lights actually covered with no exposed wiring. You'd be surprised at how many I find with exposed wiring. Electrical panel, making sure every circuit's labeled. You'd be surprised how many I find where none are labeled. Common area, same as premise, it's actually somewhat clean, right? I'm not here to be Mr. Spick and Span and oh my God, there's a piece of pizza on the floor. Entry doors, that the doors actually work, that it's a securable unit within, so you're in a safe place. Windows, that they can move, that they're not broken, missing, boarded up improperly, seen it all. Heater, the heat works, we need heat up here. Kitchen counter, sink surfaces, it's not, just a huge pile of nonsense and filth with a bunch of mold growing on it, which I have encountered. Floor coverings, so you don't trip, somewhat clean, right? You don't want to just be in the middle of the night if you're at a friend's house, trip over something. Plumbing, making sure the plumbing actually works, so it's not just flooding everywhere. Water heaters work, so you have hot water. I know I like taking hot water showers. Ventilation in a bathroom. Why do we have ventilation in the bathroom? Even a window that opens so it doesn't get moldy. I've been in bathrooms where the mold is so thick it's growing hairs. Smoke detectors. Hey, I'll give it on that one. Like I usually visually see them. I figure, hey, they're there. They should have batteries that work. You're supposed to provide a working smoke detector. Since I've been told, you need to test them. I've been testing them all because I've been, people have placed them apparently without batteries that don't work. So now I'm testing them all. at all of my new inspections, because if people are gonna put faulty stuff in there on purpose, I need to make sure it's safe, right? I can't have that happening. Electrical, same thing on the exterior, interior. I've gone in many places where plates are missing, there's exposed wire everywhere. Like literally, outlets and switches just hanging in the wall. The address, something simple as an address, the address on your house. I found a ton of them with no actual address on the house. So say EMS has to try and find you. GPS doesn't always work the greatest. You're pulling up, you don't know where it is. Same with carbon monoxide detectors, same thing. And then fire extinguishers, I see if they're there, right? You're supposed to provide a fire extinguisher. So now I'm gonna go into some
Before you
photos.
go on, Dave, now, you heard what's on the test. To me, none of that's arbitrary. To me, that's life-saving or life-threatening. If you don't believe that, that's a joke.
The issues in your sink? That's a joke.
Hey, now it's not public comment. Matt, again, Matt, there will be a comment.
Well, he's commenting,
He's-
I'm
he's-
saying,
this
hey,
is-
you're
this
not
is
even
his- Matt,
checking the
this is
smoke
his presentation.
detector.
This is his presentation, this is Dave's presentation, okay? It's not
Well,
your
then
time. It's
Dave's
not your
not
time.
checking them.
Dave's speaking, okay, not Matt.
This is about health and safety. 100%. 100%. Dave.
Alright, this is just the failure rate for inspections within the city, right? 96% fail. I've been into brand new places, past county code inspection, they didn't have a fire extinguisher, that's still considered a fail, right? The majority of things I find, no railings going up and down stairs, they'll kind of want a railing. No fire extinguishers, the label panels not being labeled, bunch of broken windows all over the place. And then missing fire alarms. And by missing fire alarms, I mean, we require one every floor, one in every sleeping room, and one outside a sleeping room. That's it. And I've gone into beautiful, immaculate places, and not a single smoke alarm. Not one. Not one. So this is just an example of some of the things I kind of walk into on a regular basis, right? Landlord refused to fix this. The tenant had to call me and schedule an inspection. They consented to the inspection, ceiling's coming down. Upon further inspection in that property, I realized that the tenants had also been doing significant damage to the property where they had removed load-bearing walls. On further inspection on the other units in that property, I'll show you more of what was there in later slides, not the next one. But this property eventually became condemned. After it was condemned, I gained access with the landlord to one of the units I wasn't able to gain access to. The entire floor was covered in syringes. And when I mean covered in syringes, the guys that went to clean it out literally had to have Tyvek on and they were using shovels. Alright, so this one's real blurry. I tried to kind of make it brighter so you can kind of see. But, so this was one I went in with the landlord. That's all dog feces in a basement. Completely covered in dog feces and urine. This one, so that's a front door. Every window and door except the back door was covered in poly. On top of that, that front door was screwed shut so the tenant would be able to get egress out of there if there was, say, a fire in the kitchen by the back door. It was screwed shut. And since there was all that plastic over everything, the majority of that unit was covered in mold. Here's an example of, just a bunch of rumble in a house, where I have to actually tell adults, you need to clean this up. When I'm jumping over things to get to your stairs, that's quite egregious to me. All right, here's an example of failed plumbing. The bathroom failed upstairs. Okay, so you have some discoloration. This is all mold. The furs on the mold were probably around 1/8 of an inch long, coming out of the mold spore. Great entrance to your place, eh? There's no way you can lock that door. So this is just an example of outdoor rummage, right? It doesn't look bad, but the whole story behind this property is even worse. Because all of that filth was also in front of the property, strewed all over the yard. When I did the inspection, the toilets did not work, and the occupants were defecating into their showers because the toilets were not working on this property. And that was just one of a multitude of violations. This eventually became a condemned property. Here's an example of just poor workmanship. Right? Just plaster failing, you got insulation exposed. I mean, that's a fix. You just fix it. If you're a landlord, you should be maintaining your property so that isn't exposed. This one's kind of hard to see because it's a little bright in here. This is a bathroom, right? This is just standard plywood in a shower stall. There was no ventilation in this bathroom whatsoever. Again, covered with mold. All of the windows in this unit was again all covered in plastic because all the window frames had been rotting out and water was intruding through the windows. And the whole place was covered in mold. So these are an example of things that I find on properties. I mean, we can talk about smoke alarms. Yes, they are important. I see them. You know, okay, I'm testing them now because, you know, the public really wants me to test them. I'll test them. But there are a lot more egregious things than a smoke alarm placement. Much more.
Now,
And that's not even considering the odor in some of these places.
now you've seen with your own eyes what trusting people just to do on their own has done. Are we gonna do that still?
8 examples.
Is that what we're gonna do? Are we gonna just trust that it will be taken care of by the landlord? I can see with my own eyes and know there are a lot more pictures on many other properties where the same things throughout the entire city. But again, we're not voting on whether there's gonna be a code tonight. We're voting to say, should the people of the county who said, we have a standard, you will register your rental landlord, and you will have it inspected before people go in there and rent it, so they're safe. Is that the community standard we're gonna have? Or are we gonna have the standard where I go with my wife on Sunday, we go to visit grandma, and she fell down the stairs 5 days ago, and she's no longer alive because there was no handrail. Or maybe the toddler decides they're just gonna get over by this exposed electrical area and be electrocuted. Or family, no fault of their own, is sleeping at night and there's no carbon monoxide detector and they don't wake up the next morning. This is real. And I'm passionate about this. Why? Because the city charter says, me, the city manager, is responsible for the safety of every person in this community. This ordinance is necessary. Now, if we're saying we're gonna have that standard in this community, but the landlord who owns a business and operates a business in this community doesn't want us to go in, and they want us to pay for all the money it costs to go to court and have an attorney file all that paperwork, which costs about $500, we're not making money off that. If we want to make money, we're paying a lot more in the rental fee and the inspection fee. This is all about safety. And one last little fact I want to tell you, and then I'll let the attorney speak on the Fourth Amendment. If every person in this community who has a rental refused and said we have to get a warrant, that every 3 years would cost the city roughly about $225,000. So where's that money coming from? That money's coming from me, firing police officers, shutting down the ice arena maybe. I don't wanna do that. Closing the library. Where's it gonna come from? It should come from the landlord. It's their responsibility to make sure the place is safe, and we have a community standard that says so. So with that said, Mr. Mayor, we will entertain any questions this council has.
The attorney speak?
Yes, after the attorney, yes, sir.
Wait, I think, give us, if you could, Dave or Nate, maybe just give us an idea in terms of how, I guess, the procedure of an inspection. In other words, you know, you decided you want to, inspect a rental unit. Walk through the timeline, how that procedure goes, because we're here talking about, you know, administrative warrants and possibly, applying, you know, fees associated with that. But before we get to that point, I think it should be clear, you know, the steps that happen before we would ever get to that point of you know, seeking an administrative warrant.
Okay, so typically what will occur is that a landlord will schedule a rental inspection for a unit, multiple units. There's a couple ways to do that. We set up an online portal, so they could do it after hours. They contact my office, or they just contact my office via phone or email, you know, and they can, you know, schedule a rental inspection. After that time, you know, I go conduct an inspection, so I hop in the city vehicle, and then I pull up to the property. Typically, like, once I pull up to the property, you know, I'm starting my body camera. I'm, you know, recording the address, and then once I, you know, get out of the vehicle, usually the landlord is outside waiting for me.
But sorry, Dave, but before you get to that point, there's been communications with the landlord and the tenant, in terms of scheduling dates and times.
Yeah, that's part of the scheduling, the setup to the
That's part of it.
inspection. I don't just show up willy-nilly to a property and be
You're
like,
not showing
hey,
up-
I'm doing your inspection today.
You're not showing up in the middle of the night?
No.
The stop or anything like that?
Yeah, and I try to work with these landlords too, so they can work with their tenants, because really, I mean, you're dealing with multiple parties there, right? Trying to come to an agreement at a time. And, you know, I work during normal business hours, you know, sometimes those tenants have to take time off work, sometimes the landlord, sometimes both. So, you know, I get to the unit, typically the landlord is signing a consent form, to consent to the inspection. Once they consent to the inspection, I walk around the exterior of the property, you know, marking any, you know, things that are not within compliance. I typically let the landlord know, you know, hey, I'm doing that, and then I'll meet you inside, come up to your door, come up to the door, I knock on the door, I put on my foot booties, so I'm not tracking stuff, you know, through the property. I walk through the property with my checklist, and if I see anything that's out of sync, you know, I make a note. And then once I complete that, I typically let the landlord know at that time if there's any rectifications, you know, the timeline. I'll also email them usually now because, you know, snail mail isn't as responsive. A list of rectifications. I usually give everybody 30 days to rectify things unless it's like a dire emergency, right? Or if I have to condemn a property, God forbid. And then I usually, basically that starts a dialogue, right? Because some of these fixes they're going to get a fire extinguisher, right? Smoke alarm here or there. Some of these are larger fixes that require larger amounts of time. So I'm in constant communication usually with that landlord to try and, you know, get updates from them as they're rectifying everything. And then once everything is rectified, I send them their rental license sticker, which is in the same place in every unit in the city, which is underneath the kitchen sink on the inside of the cabinet door. That way it's the same place universally throughout the city.
Okay, thanks, Dave. As far as, you know, the ordinance or you know, the option of administrative warrants, and these are, I can tell you that, you know, my firm and we do a lot of work for municipalities. Administrative warrants is a common tool that municipalities use to to seek enforcement and to act quickly at a relatively cost-effective way. But every time you have to, and I guess what we've seen over the years is that, most people comply, the lion's share of people comply, and, the idea of having to go get administrative warrants, we don't have to do that as a practice all that often. But when you do, or when we do, yeah, it costs roughly $500 each time you have to get one, because you have to, they're not rubber stamped, they are very fact specific. It requires the signature of a judge, and it takes time and effort to obtain them. And this is a common tool. It's been we didn't dream it up and pull it out of thin air. This is something that is widely used in municipalities. They're very common.
Now, with that said, Mr. Mayor, if there's any questions, we'll go into answer them.
Do we want to
You can
entertain
make
a
a motion if you want, and you go from there.
All right, I would like to entertain a motion for ordinance amendment number 154, regular ordinance, second reading.
I'll make the motion that we adopt the amendment to rental ordinance 154.
All right, John, do you have anything further to speak on?
I just want to remind everybody that this is not really about whether or not we have a rental inspection program at all. We have one. It was adopted years ago and has been in place. The only question is whether or not the city, meaning all the other taxpayers, should be paying for the city to go and get an administrative warrant. That's really all this is about. Should we have to pay for someone else to be able to run their business here, or should they find a way to schedule it in a reasonable time, when they maybe don't have a tenant in there, so that they can get these inspections done in order to be compliant with the city's rule. This is really just about who's paying for it. And right now, all of us are paying for it. And I think that landlords ought to be paying for it, or effectuating to make it happen and have their tenants allow it to happen.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Dave, anything further?
Can't say it any clearer and more eloquently than John just said, so.
Very good, thank you. Tracy, anything? No, Amanda? Nothing further. Matt? Yeah.
Well, it seems like we got multiple issues here. First off, you got the Fourth Amendment right to security in your own home. And whether you're renting that home or you're purchasing that home, it is your home. And you have the right to defend it by all means necessary, right? Also, you talk about 400 rentals, $30 a pop. That's about a $12,000 money grab right there. Just numbers wise, right? So, and then we talk about safety issues. Well, if we're not checking the smoke alarms, well, there's a smoke alarm. I hope the hell it goes off if there's a fire, but we ain't gonna bother to check it to see that it will in case of a fire, or outlets, or whatever, you buy a simple little $5 tester, you plug it into an outlet, it tells you if everything's good with the outlet. This isn't rocket science stuff here. So, to put undue financial burden on the tenant or the landlord is completely irresponsible. To say that, well, Dave is gonna be the one to decide that somebody's grandson was making a fort in the living room and he left a table with a blanket over it for a fort, and now Dave thinks that's a safety hazard, so now there's gonna be a fine involved because somebody left a box in the middle of the room? I think we need to have a lot clearer rules as to what's going on, and if the tenant would like an inspection, by all means, they should be able to get one. And if they don't want you in their apartment, you sure as hell shouldn't be there. That simple. That's it.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to clear up a couple of the comments that were just made. Mr. Nelson has just said at this meeting tonight, publicly and in front of you, that he does test the smoke alarms now.
He does now. He hasn't been. You're saying he hasn't been.
He didn't.
Wait, this is not a public comment.
Okay.
It was not our responsibility to check the alarms to see if they work.
Well, why are we doing this?
But now it is.
Crying out loud.
Now it is.
Mr. Mayor, point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Hold on.
But this is in
Order.
Crying out loud.
Alright,
It was not our responsibility to check the alarms. Our job was to make sure they were there. Okay? That's what we did. Now that practice has changed due to people saying they did nefarious and illegal things. Mind you, nefarious meaning wrong, illegal meaning illegal. Putting in broken batteries that don't work. That's illegal. That's grievous, in my opinion. And that's dangerous to the tenant. Now we test them, because now our hand's been forced to do that, because now we know people are doing that. In addition to that, no one's being fined for a fort in the middle of the room. In fact, if I'm not correct, Dave will correct me now, we have not issued any monetary fine on anybody with the rental code at this point.
The only the ones that we haven't are ones that have not consented to the inspection as they were supposed to, right? So if we enacted it in 2018, we gave you 3 years for everybody to get inspected. Obviously with COVID, we gave everybody a break, so I've been giving everybody a break for even longer, but that ends now. And I noticed all the landlords that hadn't had their properties inspected earlier this year, that they need to get them up to inspection, and you know, I had a couple that refused to consent to inspection, so I did ultimately fine them.
So,
But that's it.
fined because they didn't register, but not fined because we went to their property and found issues. Our goal is not to fine people. We don't want to. Our goal is safety.
The goal is not to find issues either, it seems like.
alright, Matt. You had your moment.
Every property, Dave just said, 96% of them have failed. So we are finding issues. So to misrepresent the truth is egregious as well. Mr. Mayor, I'll entertain any other questions.
Kevin, do you have anything further out of this discussion? Alright, I will not make any comments myself. Mr. City Manager covered everything that I had. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney, for that. With that, we'll move to a vote. Might as well just do a roll call vote on this one here.
Becker,
Yes.
Howard,
Nay.
Loey,
Yes.
Kangas,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Ganabate,
Nay.
Ilmanen.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on. Number 7, unfinished business, seeing none. Number 8, new business. 8.1, garbage bids. David, please.
The City of Negauni's current garbage contract with GFL expires at the end of 2025. The City of Negauni issued bids and 2 were received. Option D, weekly trash and bi-weekly recycle pickup, includes both trash and recycle cans. Contractor, and then there's a 5-year total, and then pickup days, and then drop-off sites. So we have the first one at GFL. Their 5-year was 1353192.54. Pickup days, Tuesday and Wednesday, drop-off site, CR 480. The other one was North County Disposal, 5-year total bid, option not provided by North Country, same with pickup days, same with drop-off site. Recommendation, it is recommended from city staff that the city enter into a 5-year garbage contract agreement with GFL. The agreement will consist of weekly trash pickup and bi-weekly recycle pickup. The agreement will also have GFL provide every resident customer with a 96-gallon trash can and a 96-gallon recycle can by the end of 2026. The monthly drop-off site will remain the same.
With that, can I entertain a motion for 8.1, please?
Can I speak?
No, sir.
I'm with North Country Disposal, I don't understand.
No, I can't allow that.
You guys can't return a phone call either, or nothing to me, right?
Reach
Imagine
out-
that.
reach out
Hey,
to
it's
the
North
city.
Country Disposal, not North County. And I am in Nagani. And I am cheaper for GFL.
With that, may I entertain a motion for 8.1 garbage bids, please? Dave, I will second that motion. All right, Dave, anything further you'd like to discuss about this?
Well, it's my understanding is that, a big thing is tipping fees at the landfill. And it's, granted, and also it's, it's the service that we had through the years, and it's been good, consistent, come on time, take our garbage, great. But, sometimes people don't put their garbage in cans, it's like, sometimes the wind hits and the renewables get blown all over the place. I can really admit that happened to me more than a couple times. But it's, just seems to me it's more of a cleaner, more X equals Y solution. And I just would say, it's an option for which that, okay, yeah, maybe pay a little bit more. Yeah, okay, I went to the store today and paid more for yogurt. I know that's a bad example, I know that, but it's still the same type of mindset. So sometimes you just have to do what you gotta do when you live in a civilized society.
Thanks, Dave. Tracy, anything further? No. Amanda?
No.
Nothing further? John?
My concern is really just that, there's a lag time between, entering this contract at the beginning of '26 and the time when, every resident would have, the trash can and the recycling can. So I'm hopeful that, people will continue to be able to, recycle in the way that we have been until they get their designated can. But it seems like in the big picture, this saves $300,000 from what we were looking at. So it seems like it's a pretty good bid for us.
Good, thank you. Matt, anything further?
No.
Kevin? No. All I have, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. City Manager, that this is a way for us to continue promoting recycling and putting less garbage into our landfills by having multiple days of garbage and.
Well, to answer your question, Mr. Mayor, this is a bid to award to a contractor to continued solid waste management in the city of Nagani. Our contract with GFL will be coming to an end this year. So now we have to find somebody who's going to pick that trash up. Staff is recommending GFL primarily because of the price and primarily because we have a drop-off site within the city limits. With that, there comes change. Part of that change, in order to save money, will be to pick up the recycling only twice a month. And that's why there'll be a bin that's 96 gallons in size provided to each resident. In addition to that, they are gonna provide the large 96 size gallon containers for trash as well. That'll be picked up every week. So we have to decide whether we want to award this to them. As mentioned at the last budget meeting, the price has gone up, and not primarily due to GFL or any trash provider, but it's the tipping fees that are really getting us. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But still, we're looking at about $24 a month for trash. That's still less, $1 less a day. And yes, we do want to see diversion of recyclable items out of our trash system. One, to reduce tipping fees to some degree, and two, to not fill the cells up at the landfill. Because once that's done, and the cells are full, and there's no more room to build any more cells or no more permitting, then our trash is getting shipped out somewhere else. I think we got a while for that, but we need to do everything we can to divert that waste out. So I do believe that with the addition of the recycling container, number one, you will see more people recycle. And then number two, on the other issue concerning the trash can itself, you will see less pest infiltration, such as birds or ravens, cats or dogs, skunks, or whoever else is out there rolling around in the woods, getting into garbage and flinging it throughout the neighborhoods. So that's everything in a nutshell.
Very good. Thanks, sir. And with that, Dave, we'll take a vote. All in favor of 8.1 garbage bids, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Me.
Go for a roll call vote, Dave?
Becker,
Yes.
Howard,
Nay.
Chloe,
Yes.
Kangas,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Ganavate,
Yes.
Ilmanen,
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on, 8.2, USDA draw and change order, Phase 1 water project and non-participating. Dave, background please.
Approved draw number 21 in the amount of $4,129 to UP Engineers and 123875.33 to Oberstar for the Phase 1 water project reimbursed with USDA funds. Approved 270,517.36 in retainage to Oberstar for non-participating. This amount is unbudgeted, so a drawdown of fund balances from the following funds will need to be done. 33479.89 from the water fund. 33497.89 from the water fund. 70194.19 from the street millage. 108,857.85 from the major street fund, 27584.84 from the sewer fund, 30382.59 from the general fund. And then also with this one is approved change order number 9 for the Phase 1 water project.
You can do it all as one.
Yeah, it's,
I think you should. You guys speak before you-
Yes, sir, yeah, absolutely.
Before you entertain a motion, Mr. Mayor, I want to give a little bit more background on this. So you got two things going on here at the same time. One is directly related to the water project for the USDA funds, which is a bond we have out, the several $million water project we did the last 2 years. The rest of it, the non-participating part of it is for the water project, but also part of it is for the streetscape as well. Typically what happens under USDA bonds, under contract, a certain percentage is left behind and not paid to the contractor in order to make sure the contractor fulfills the contract. So now what we're simply doing is we're releasing these funds. They were originally budgeted, but they're not in this budget. So when the project was approved, the USDA water project and the streetscape project, those budgets were approved. And we're just finally giving the rest of the money to the people who did the work. Lastly, I will mention, you'll see one more pay app come to you, number 10, next month. There'll be money left over in the bond. What we're gonna do is ask the USDA to give us that money and then we'll turn around and write a check back to them, giving the money back, making an early payment on the water project. So that'll be the end of it. So I just wanted to give a little bit more clarity on this.
I will entertain a motion for 8.2 USDA draw and change order phase 1 water project and non-participating.
I'll make the motion. Do you want me to re-say all of that? Yes, you do.
Yes.
You really want. There we go. Make a motion that we approve draw 21 in the amount of $4,129 to UP Engineers and $123,875.33 to Overstar for Phase 1 water project reimbursed with USDA funds. Approve $270,517.36 in retainage to Overstar for non-participating. This amount is unbudgeted, so the drawdown from the fund balances will be done in the following amounts: $33,497.89 from the water fund, $70,194.19 from the street millage, $108,857.85 from the major street fund, $27,584.84 from the sewer fund, $30,382.59 from the general fund, and change order number 9 for phase 1 of the water project. That's what I moved.
Thank you, John. All right, Kevin will second. All right, John, after all that, anything further?
We're just paying the bills.
Kevin, anything further? Matt, anything, this one? Anybody on my right?
No, this is basically just the basic tailing ends what we owe, and it's, be sure the job's got done, and once it did, it's, okay. Right? Kind of dangling the carrot, so to speak, because they got the carrot, so.
Tracy, anything? Amanda?
No.
All right, with that, we take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay?
I think you'll need to do a roll call, so.
It does,
because it's
yeah.
still a budget adjustment.
Okay.
All right, Becker,
Yes.
Howard,
Yeah.
Floyd,
Yes.
Kangas,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Ganavate,
Yes.
Illanen.
Yes. All right, moving on, 8.3, CCI land purchase discussion. I believe there's a background in this, so.
There is no background, Mr. Mayor, so I'm going to give you that background.
Yes, thank you.
So tonight you did hear at least one comment from the Luge Club on this issue. CCI is selling a lot of property right now. As we heard, the city of Ishpeming purchased a giant chunk of land. The city of Negaunee has been approached by the Luge, and we've been in talks for quite some time about improvements out there. But then all of a sudden, the land availability came to us. So I want to gauge from the council, would you like me to gather more information about the potential purchase of this property so we can keep this facility within our community, which, as you've heard, has been here since the 90s. Or obviously, we could run the risk of somebody else getting it and then it not being there for the public enjoyment. So I just want to know if you'd like me to gather more information, and then we can come back, go into closed session next month, and we can discuss it further, and whether we would like to make any type of offer towards that property if the council deems it prudent.
That's all you have?
That's all I have.
All right, I will entertain a motion on 8.3 CCI land purchase discussion, strictly to allow Nate to explore further options and bring a option back to us for next month's meeting.
I'll make that motion. Support.
All right, Kevin, do you have anything further?
No.
John?
I mean, this is a great asset for our community, and, you know, if we can get a price along the lines of what Ishpeming got, that was pretty outstanding. It'd be really hard to buy anything for that kind of money. Take it from all Borough.
Matt, anything?
It's recreation for the kids, it'd be good to see it stay.
Thank you. Amanda?
I echo what they're saying, it's good to keep it in the community. I think it is very beneficial to our community.
Thank you. Tracy?
It's a great asset to keep in our city. We'd be fool to let it go.
Okay. Dave, what you got?
I'm always been a believer in getting more information and then getting the right information from the right sources so we can make the right decisions. So, yes, I'm all for it.
Very good, thank you. Believe it or not, I was once a young luge enthusiast. Went down the hill one time, and then they told me to carry the sled up the hill, and I quit losing. But with children that age, I'd love to follow them to Europe one year, watch them slide down the hill. So with that, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on. Number 9, consent agenda. 9.1, minutes, September 11th, regular meeting minutes. October 2nd, special budget minutes. 9.2, claims and accounts. 9.3, revenue expenditure trial balance reports. 9.4, budget adjustments. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. All right, moving on. Number 10, public comment. This is our second public comment again. Step up to the podium. 3-minute public comment. Please state your name and your address, and we'll hear you for up to 3 minutes.
Becky Cookman, 320 Green Garden Road. I'm here tonight just to ask you to support the city purchasing the land at UC Hill. It's really a true jewel in the crown of Oregon. Many people don't realize that Lucy Hill is recognized as one of the most challenging and exhilarating luge hills in the whole entire world. And it's right here in our backyard. Last winter, my husband and I traveled to Europe to watch some World Cup luge races. And when people found out that we were from the US, even though there was a language barrier, they'd say, Lucy Hill. So it's pretty amazing to have that kind of worldwide recognition. But the impact isn't just international. Each year, hundreds of people travel to Negaunee to go down our luge show. And then those are people that are eating in our restaurants, walking our streets. It's really a true asset. You know, people that wouldn't otherwise be here are here to go to the luge. On a more personal note, Lucy Hill has really changed my family's life. About 10 years ago, our son joined the luge club, and soon both of our kids were competing on the national luge team. And you know, the experiences they've had, you know, they're representing our country, they have friends all over the world, and it all started right here in Negaunee. It's just mind-blowing. Lucy Hill builds pride and opportunity and community and connects this small town all around the world. Purchasing the land would ensure that our kids in the community have a world-class facility, and it continues for those next generation of kids who stand at the top of Lucy Hill, full of courage and possibility. So I thank you for entertaining the possibility of them to purchase.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Ken Ullman, the owner of North Country Disposal. I just want to talk a little bit about the bid. I know I can't answer questions, but I just want to clarify a few things. Since none of the city manager never responded to my emails or phone calls or anything like that. For the record, the bid results, per stop, I bid it at $3.46 for the first year, GFL $3.42. I was a little bit more pricier on the first year. Second year contract, $3.46 a stop I bid. GFL, $3.52. Third year, I'm at $3.56. GFL, $3.62. Fourth year, I'm at $3.61 a week. GFL's at $3.73. Fifth year, same price, $3.61 I stayed at. GFL, $3.84. I was doing recycling once a week. I was coming by to pick the garbage up once a week. Unlike kind of what happens now for holidays and stuff, you guys get missed, it's pushed back a day or two. We pick up on the holidays. All the references I listed, City of Ishpeming, Marquette Township, Negaunee Township, the list goes on of all the municipalities that I service in here. I put them on my reference list. It would speak volumes of the company. I guess I'm just a little bit deterred how GFL was cheaper. Because in the bid opening, they weren't. And in the bid opening, they stated that it was a responsibility of the city to purchase the carts. These carts are $53 a cart, that's what I buy them at. 1,800 residents, roughly, is what was in the bid spec. Times 2 carts, a recycle cart and a garbage cart. I don't see how they're cheaper. Lastly, I'm born and raised in the area, local kid, get back to the communities. Just putting up a batting cage, Marquette Township, City of Ishpeming 4 years ago, built a park. I see you guys got issues with your ice rink and things of that nature. Probably be pretty nice to have a local guy doing it. That would keep the money local, would keep the profits local, give back to the communities, such as what North Country does. I'm just a little bothered that A, I was not communicated with or had the opportunity to counter bid, such as what GFL did. And also the, just not being open. I mean, call me back, send me an email, smoke signal, something. I mean, I should have the same right that the competition does. And I promise you, I'll provide a much better service than what you guys are getting for this right now, at a cheaper rate. And your recycle will get picked up once a week, not every other week. That's all I got.
Very good, thank you.
I'm Eric, I'm with GFL. So just to clear up, the reason we're cheaper is it sounded like you guys went with the bi-weekly option of recycling. So then our 5-year price would be at $3.06 a stop. So even our 5th year is cheaper than their 1st year. But if you look at their bid, if you go down to where they deliver 64-gallon carts to the customer in 2027, that's $16.47 per month. Comes up to $3.80 a stop. So by 2027, year 2, they would actually be 34 cents above what they have on the bid. We are looking to get the carts delivered as soon as the snow melts, so we will be carting as soon as possible. We will also be providing the 96-gallon totes to where, according to their bid, they would be providing it if you went with the 10-year term. We will also provide the performance bond instead of a letter of credit. And we look forward to continue serving the community.
Thank you.
I don't know who's living on the cornfield of no shoes people here, but tenants have more rights than the landlords. Anybody ever look that stuff up in the books through the courthouses? Anybody? You got a problem, you can call it anonymous, or a friend can call it, they see something wrong in somebody's houses. I don't care, I'm pulling everything up. I'm speaking for the rest of the landlords. It's, you see something, call it in. That's what they should do. A lot of stuff's gonna go in between inspections and everything else, so it's, look it up. The tenant's got a lot more than the landlord has going on for them. I'm just wondering, now, who's paying for the bins? They're coming out of our pockets, though, you see in here the 10-year that he covered or whatever, it's like, okay, interesting. And another thing, that Amish-made telephone pole that's over on, under Prince Street, Baldwin and, Brown Avenue. We all know who lives there. But I mean, it's a landmark. It just happens to be on someone's place. I lived here, I worked for the city of Nagani 45 years ago, and there's always been a single pole and a guy wire off of there, just like the other poles, but you've got this monster that a lot of people haven't even seen it I talked to. Look at it, if anything, you would have put it on Teal Lake. That's a waste of money. Was that 13,000, it was 17 feet under, or 17,000, 13 feet under? It's that wide, like that. It's Amish made that looks like, for crying out loud. I mean, you don't think they could have used that money over here at the ice arena for anything else? But, yeah, just turned at this, landmark, I live up the road. I got a feeling that's what the attitude happened there. And how the hell that got passed from everybody else here, beyond my imagination. Yeah, other landlords just can't shut things down like I can, so they gotta pay mortgages. But, doesn't come out, I got the one, they went there for nothing, as far as I'm concerned. It did triple the paying for what I paid for it. That's their house, 20 years they've been there. They want nobody in their house. They nobody don't want you in their goddamn house. These pictures you showed, eight of them. Well, I know that didn't come out of his backyard or his house or something. You know, it's, I mean, sure, there's places that need fixing. I've seen them. I've seen some landlords work. I went and fixed things for other
30 seconds
landlords
remaining.
for crying out loud. You know? I mean, myself, I would never own nothing. If I wouldn't live in it, I would never rent it out. 30 years I've been in the business, and I'm pulling my ass out. But, you know, and then $70,000 a year and expenses and stuff, and he's driving around doing inspections and he's not even doing it right. It'd be cheaper to get somebody like they paid the code enforcement.
Right, Kendall, your time has expired.
$12,000. So take that, food for thought. Thanks.
Hello again, Kristen Radio, 109 Alice Street. I'm really glad that a lot of people showed up to this meeting today. They work for us who live here. Come to the meetings, see what's happening. A lot of people, they're not transparent, there is no transparency. And it needs to happen, and I hope it starts today. That's all, thanks.
Thank you, Kristen.
Tim Westbrook, 219 East Lincoln Street. I'm also the president of Iron Range Hockey Association. So I just want to give you guys I guess a rundown that, you know, the past 3-4 years our association is growing. I think this year we're up to 186 members, and including the high school kids that you know, skate with us before their season starts, before they're allowed to try out, we're at like 208 kids on the ice. So this ice rink is very, very important to them. You can see by their showing tonight that it's very important to them. It's a very important part of this community. All winter long, that place is packed with people, and it trickles down to the businesses. The Slapshot Sandwiches, I reached out to them, went down and got a menu. They're a new business to the community, posted their menu up in the ice rink, and I hope they got a lot of business from the hockey players that came into town. It's critical that we get a plan in place, figured out to get the rink so it's operational. I've been receiving requests now of, can I get my money back so I can go skate Marquette? Because people are concerned, are we gonna make it a full season? Are we gonna have ice? And I don't know, is all I can tell them. So, it's a very, very critical situation. From what I understand, it's been like 10 years coming that the ice plant's been marked as needing to be replaced. So I hope the council takes it seriously, and I hope we can work together. I mean, I know the Hockey Association is willing to do whatever we need to do to partner with the city to come up with some plans to keep the ice rink up and running and to keep it affordable. Because that's the other issue that you run into is hockey is a very expensive sport. And then at ice time on top of the gear, I mean, hockey sticks are $300 a crack now. Skates, top of the line skates are $1,000 a pair. So we need to keep that in mind when we look for options to keep this ice rink running and get this replaced, that we're not increasing costs astronomically to the facility, because that will also deter, kids from being able to play hockey just because of the financial burden. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Rob Cookman, 320 Green Garden Road. I've been involved with the UP Luge Club since 2015, and I guess I just wanted, I really like what everybody else had to say and your support, but I also wanted to share a little bit on the history there. It started in 1990, and there was a $150,000 grant from the state that was used to construct the track. And that got everything up and running for the first few years. And now we're all an all-volunteer organization, and our support comes from the local businesses. You'll see names on the signs out there. We also write for grants and the public sliders that come in. And they're from many states, and some that popped into my head while we were sitting here in the last few years. We've got sliders from Canada, Japan, Slovakia, Moldova, Dubai. We can keep on going. And it's pretty cool to have the only ice track in North America right now. There are a couple other snow tracks, but you guys really have a gem here. So we have sliders that are on the team or in the club that are driving here weekends from Minnesota or Wisconsin. So there is an impact of all those people coming in and staying at the motels and the B&Bs and friends' houses. So I thank you for your support.
Okay, thank you. Any further public comment? Seeing none, closing public comment. Yep. Oh, yeah, one more.
Sorry,
All
just
right.
one more.
One more.
Samantha Toth, 233 Shoreline. I hate speaking publicly, but I did make a Facebook post yesterday, and it was shared over 100 times about the ice rink. I did not see one person in opposition of getting our rink back up and running. So I just want to say, please strongly consider supporting us in our mission to get the kids back on the ice. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, now I will close public comment. Number 11, council comment. Start with John. Do you have anything for us tonight?
Nothing to add tonight.
All right, Matt, what you got?
When I first got on the council, it seemed that the ice rink was having problems making ice. And I said, well, how old is the system? Is it gonna hold up? Do we need to replace it all? I was assured by the city manager that everything was tip-top shape. The next year, once again, no ice. Do we need to replace the system? Well, the system's been checked. The coolant's good. It'll make it. Here we are. Once again, no ice. And we got people paying to play on ice that don't exist. Am I imagining things? Because if anybody's paying, they damn well ought to be getting their money back. If we can't provide them with ice. I mean, that's pretty simple. And on another note, there has been many complaints about the bicycles outside the bike shop plugging up the sidewalk and the streets. Those bikes are for sale and for rent. And if you're gonna do business on the sidewalk or on the street, the city should get a cut. And we should work that out before you start the business, not after. That's it.
Thanks, Matt. Kevin, anything for us tonight?
No, thanks.
Amanda?
I've been on the council less than a year, but I do remember last year, the compressors were down for the ice, and they repaired it. I don't know how much it costs to replace it, but it seems like, you know, the ice arena that actually does make us money and gets used, 6 to 8 months out of the year, should have been a higher priority. I mean, you know, we can't really do anything in hindsight, but it seems like, you know, all the money we've spent on the streetscape to win an award, where we didn't get any money out of that, and, you know, I've voiced my concerns about it in the past, you know, how much money we spent on that, and now our general fund is empty. And now we don't have any money to get a new, get a new ice machine. And it's very unfortunate. I think, you know, it should have been addressed years ago. And, you know, if I would have been on here, I would have said something years ago. But, you know, so I am 100% on board with, you know, Irontown working with the city to get some sort of fundraising going. You know, I know when people, a tight-knit community like the hockey community can come together and do something, and I would really encourage you to reach out to the city and the city manager to voice your concerns and opinions and your ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Tracy, anything you guys want?
I want to thank everyone for coming here. We heard you and see what we can do. And for the luge, I've watched people go down so many times. That's too chicken to go down. that hill is terrifying. Thank you all for coming.
Dave, you already got something for us. Where'd your waste come
I got a list. No, like Kristen said, you know, you wanna be actively involved in your community, you come to these meetings, you find out, okay? Social media is great, but like they say, everything on social media is correct, right? It's, you know, you stop at the phrase, then a comment, then the next comment, then the next comment, next thing you know, like a sociology class I took in college, the professor started at 20 kids. One kid right here was told, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain, whatever. By the time they got down to the 20th person, it was the sand in the Sahara is made of mucus. Whatever, you know, it's like things change as you go along. So, and of course, it's a great form of communication, you know, that we can have with one another. But it all comes down to what is the proper information. So on that, like I know everyone's concerned about the ice rink. My grandson's plays hockey, you know, Don, you know that.
Yep.
So even the thought that, oh, we're gonna not just close down the ice rink, you know, just because it's, I don't know, just, these things are old, you know, make the effort to not put forth a plan to save it and bring it back to even make it better, that's kind of foolish. And maybe probably shouldn't have said the word foolish, but I can't put it any clearer than that. So, efforts would be made for that. And I got this, probably, I don't know. It was after we won that MML award down in Grand Rapids, and a neighbor of mine sent me a text, and it's not too lengthy, but I'll try to read fast with my glasses on. He said, "Good morning, David. Want to start your day with a well done congratulations on a 2025 Community Excellence Award. You and your fellow commissioners and staff have done an outstanding service to our community, being recognized by the Michigan Municipal League. Thank you from your neighbors and citizens of the community." Now, this is just one of, I've got many for many things around town, we're getting better. The town is improving, but as the old saying goes, how do you eat elephant? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You know, maybe people may not wanna hear that, but that's just the reality of the situation. You know, it's always, everything's not always gonna get exactly what they want. There's gotta be, there's compromise and things have to be worked with. But
Football and baseball.
I guess I rambled enough.
Yeah, right, football, baseball.
Football and baseball get everything they want.
They do.
Alright, so this is our council's time.
But I guess I'll end with, like what Kristen said, you know, thank you for showing up tonight. I knew there was concern about it, but it's nice to know there's a lot of concern. That gives us an idea of, okay, this is to be taken seriously. And another thing, I probably could have said relatively, but sometimes it's best to see things in it. So, thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll try to make my comment short tonight. Again, this is, as a council, this is our meeting. This is our meeting to talk about city business. This is our meeting to conduct city business. And we utilize, Mr. Heffron as our city manager, right? He is the one in this room that knows everything that's going on, within the city. And I believe we owe it to him the respect that he makes the comments about what's happening. I'm sure he's going to speak on certain things that people came here tonight to speak about. Does he have an answer? Possibly, possibly not, right? But we're gonna leave that to, I personally am gonna leave that to him. And then he brings ideas to us to talk about, to budget, and to make a plan for the future of this city. We know nothing happens overnight, and that's why we do this monthly, so we can make a plan, sit down, talk about it, and move forward with this city, right? Number two, I had the pleasure of going down to Grand Rapids with Nate and Tony Stigliano, prior council member. It was the ability for me to sit down at a breakfast and talk to the mayor of Gaylord, sit in a breakout session with the council members from Flint, stand in a open forum and speak with council members and mayors, and municipal league members from all over the state, and learn how their budgets work and how their projects have moved along, and to see other projects that have been brought. There was 4 finalists for the MML award this year, as every year. Some of them were excellent ideas. There was birds being saved, there was statues being erected, there was parks being built, and then a streetscape project. All of them showed that each one of our communities in the state of Michigan is doing things to beautify and build their community something that it maybe once was or could be in the future. And to be able to be part of something like that and meet with all of these local elected officials was eye-opening and just a great, I don't even know what the word is. It was an experience that I just thought was excellent. And I hope that possibly next year we can find a way to budget for all council members, myself, city manager, to go down there, hand off the award to the next winning city, which is that's Friday morning. There's an excellent event where that trophy comes out, and you see the pride in everybody's community, and know that we're not there to beat around the bush and just make decisions haphazardly for our communities. We make these decisions with all the information that's given to us, with our constituents in mind. With that, that's all I really have to say. Thank you to the council for allowing me to travel down there. Excellent opportunity for our city, excellent award we were able to bring back. And something I hope we can share with our community for, until next September, okay? And that's all I have to say. Moving on to Mr. City Manager, I know you have a few things on your plate tonight.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, unfortunately, I'm gonna be a little long-winded tonight. I'll start with the easiest part. The MDOT Shared Streets and Spaces Grant, the second streetscape project where we got $200,000 with no match, is more or less completed right now. We're going through the punch list. You'll see trees and some sidewalk improvements, a bus stop and a bike shelter, some other things that were done around the community. There will be some updates on that via Facebook with a video just kind of explaining that. Unfortunately, my voice isn't where I want it, so I'm hoping I can get that to where it needs to be in a couple weeks so people can actually hear what I'm trying to say. Second off, there's a lot of fallacy happening in this room tonight. I'm going to start with Mrs. Gravidani. Number one, our general fund is not empty. That either tells me you don't understand the budget or the audit, and I encourage you to reach out to me and have a meeting so I can show you this. Okay? Second off, we did not do the streetscape project simply to win an award with no cash that came with it. That was just a side effect, a bonus that we got. And now we're gonna be showcased across
Why
the
are
state.
you talking to her like that?
This is not your,
Sorry.
this is not your, you
That's
$6,000
This
to
is not
get
your
that
decision.
damn award. Don't brag about getting it. And you
Not-
shouldn't
not-
be doing on her either.
You don't scold her like a child, sorry.
Now,
You know damn well
no,
he
you
shouldn't
know
be
damn
doing
well.
that.
You sit down and just be quiet. You had your chance.
The reason I bring this up is because under charter, I have the right to bring up anything I want if it's been brought up before the council. It's my right as city manager by charter, our constitution. So I will take advantage of that right. We did not go to win an award. We did it to improve our community. And I also challenge you to go to all the business owners and ask them if they'd rather have, excuse my language, Mr. Mayor Council, the shithole downtown we had versus what we have now. I'm challenging you to that.
There's kids here, please.
Pardon me, I apologize. This community is better off for the investment we made. It was not just simply a streetscape project. It was also a major infrastructure project. That project brought in over $1 million in grants to facilitate, and the rest was paid by enterprise funds for utilities that needed to be improved, such as streets, sidewalks, sewer, storm drains, water, so on and so forth. So we're very fortunate to be able to get the $885,000 grant from the state of Michigan. We were able to use money we were already going to spend as the match. And it would have been malpractice on my end to not take advantage and ask the state for that money. And we got it. We got it because the state trusts us and they want to invest in us because we built those relationships. So yes, am I proud that we won this award? Yes. If we didn't win the award, we still have a better community than it was several years ago. So let's be factual when we're talking about things and not tell a room full of people the city's broke. Because if that's the case, I'm going home tonight because I'm not getting paid tomorrow. And I'm telling you right now, that's not the fact. Okay? Now, I forgot to bring the trophy. I apologize. We will bring that out. And I want to preface, the trophy's not mine. It's not the city's. It is the community's. There are multiple people across this community, including people in this room, who did what they can to make this community move forward, supporting council members, going to businesses, going to all of our events, and this is your award. And we will be getting that out to folks so they can take part in the celebration of our community. The one question I would pose to any council member ever is what's the cost of doing nothing? We're learning something tonight. The cost of doing nothing, which I'm going to explain a little bit further because it's not 100% true, is the result of the ice arena. That's the cost of doing nothing. We don't need to have those costs put on us anymore. This community, under my leadership and the council's direction, has invested in the community. And that's what this community needs to do, to grow, to increase taxable value, and to be able to offer services. Because if we can't bring money in, and we're not bringing new people here, creating businesses and jobs, stabilizing those job markets, creating services for people, making sure buildings aren't falling downtown, being able to eventually fix all of our streets, why would anybody want to live here? And we start seeing people leave. But we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing Negaunee grow. We're seeing it thrive. We're seeing people want to be here. Businesses, people building homes, all that. And more greatness is gonna come out of our biting one piece of the elephant off at a time until we eat the whole thing. Now, I'm gonna address the ice arena issue. First off, I wanna thank all of you supporters that came out tonight. I am well aware of the ice arena issue, and so is the council, most of them. And I want to dispel some comments that were made earlier by another council member. At no point did I say the ice arena is hunky-dory, that everything's fine. I have documentation that can prove that, and we know that. Now, to answer the first question, I, the city staff, and this council cares about the ice arena. I think you've heard that this evening. I want to demonstrate how we have cared and how we care, what you can do to help, and what the plan is moving forward, okay? There is a solution, but it's gonna take a little work, and I'm not gonna ask you for your help, but it's implied because I can't legally ask you, and you'll see why in a minute. First off, to answer the first question, the gentleman over here, the reason why the recreation millage cannot be used to facilitate capital improvements on the ice arena is because the millage language says you cannot facilitate capital improvements. It's only for paying wages and other things related to that. So that's the main reason why. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the circumstance that got passed many years ago. And I'm not expecting a gentleman like that to know that. And or you already know that. That's my job to know that. Make sure we're not breaking the law when the council, or excuse me, when the voters said, yeah, you could get more money from us, but this is what you can use it for. Just can't spend it on what we want. The second thing is, any monies that would have been used to facilitate repairs at the ice arena in the streetscape or other areas of community would not take care of the issues at hand. There's about $1.1 million or more in repairs that need to be done to that facility, okay? The time for Band-Aids is over. What happens with Band-Aids when you have a broken arm? You keep buying Band-Aids, you're never gonna fix the issue. You gotta fix the arm, right? So we all know we have major issues at the ice arena. Other ways to demonstrate that we do care. Over the last 3 years, we've spent at least $91,000 in emergency funding to make general repairs, the Band-Aids, to the facility. Because we do not have $1.1 million hanging out in any funds whatsoever to make the repairs necessary. And that's unfortunate. And that goes back to proper management and foresight. I think somebody had brought that up in the comments. When the facility was built in 1986, about 39 years ago, there should have been provisions put in place to create a sinking fund. Just imagine if $25,000 or $50,000 a year was set aside, where would we be today? We would have the money we need to make this facility what it needs to be. And on top of that, the facility would not be in the position it is had that foresight been done. We're going to give some of that foresight tonight. In addition to that, everything starts with planning. You just don't go at it, by throwing a dart at the dartboard, or blindly just going about which way the wind blows you, politically or day to day. So we are planning to make major repairs to the facility, and we have done for quite some time. The recreation plan has that in there. The capital improvement plans has that in there. Now, can we always facilitate that? No, we can't. Just like I can't fix all the roads at the same time. And that's one of the most important things people talk to me about every single day. We even had a gentleman here tonight to talk about that. But it's just not possible. With 50 years of neglect and no investment in the community, we're holding an empty bag with hopes and dreams and wanting everything to be fixed at the same time. It's just not possible unless everybody wants to pay an exorbitant amount of tax, which from my perspective and through state law would be impossible because we would never be able to charge you that much by law. Okay, we have a cap. Now, other ways to prove that we care. We purchased a Zamboni that was failing right when I got here out the door. Tens of thousands of dollars. We just made the final payment on it, I believe, this year, of $17,000 a year. I know some of the other stuff's to sound a little trivial, with the little bit of flooring we put in a couple years ago. And we also had a hot water heater fail, which if I'm not mistaken was around $30,000 in repair as well. So, right now, again, the Band-Aid approach is not working. Lastly, how we've been trying to fix this issue. Working with Dave, our partners across the state, different state agencies. We've tried at least nearly 10 times to find grant funding. Now, some of those grants are just not gonna happen because their law or their policy says it cannot be spent on that project. Or the grants we tried to get, we just didn't get them. We didn't score high enough. And that's just the bottom line. We even tried getting appropriations from the state, and we tried to get appropriations from the federal government through Congress, more commonly known as pork barrel spending. We have not been successful with that, unfortunately. So, with that said, the first thing as a city manager that I always will do is seek out the free money first, the grants, before I come to this council and say, let's just tax these guys more money to take care of it, because that does not make sense. First, we try to find the grants, then we determine what the next step is if we have no other options. Now, here's the only option we really have available to us right now. And it is going to depend on the people of Negaunee. And when I say the people of Negaunee, that's the people who actually live physically within the boundaries of the community. The only way we're gonna save the ice arena is through a millage, okay? Millage, at this point, proposed is a half a mil. A half a mil will bring about $70,000. We're still analyzing that with our bond attorneys to determine if this is accurate. And we've also hired an engineer to facilitate all the engineering needs we need to fix the ice arena, and that's gonna take a little time. So, with that said, I'm gonna be proposing to council, if everything jives properly, that half a mil millage for just the ice arena, which, sir, it will cover only capital improvements on that facility. The goal is, we will borrow the money if the millage passes and make the repairs to the ice arena. We will use the proceeds of the bond for the millage to pay the bond off, the interest off, and have money left over. That money left over will stay with the ice arena and will build money. And when we have to come back in 30 years, we aren't gonna have this issue. Or if we have an issue we need to take care of that we didn't cover by chance, we can cover that issue so we don't have disruptions in our facility. That's really the only option. Now, how you can help, since you asked, and thank you for asking that, because, and I believe another person, you asked that as well. That's great. How you can help is get a group of 5 of you, I don't care, it can be 3 if you want, that's gonna represent the whole of you. And have the open communications with me. I'm very easy to get a hold of. Some people say that's not true, well, then we wouldn't be getting things done in this town if that was true. Okay, so please, get people together, if you wanna pick 3 people, I will have any meeting you want, and we talk about it. We have talked to Iron Range on issues, but I feel like there's a bigger group here of multiple users, so it might be appropriate. I'm not asking you for any money at this time, I'm asking you for your ideas, I'm asking you for your support. I cannot ask you to go out and ask people to vote yes on the millage, but you can do that if you'd like to. Lastly, if we cannot get the millage passed, it's gonna be very, very difficult to be able to facilitate that facility staying open. With that said, I'm hoping that's not the case. I truly feel, because of the pride of the miners in this room tonight, and all the work that I've been doing with the council and the community members and business owners, that you guys will come out and support it, and we will save that facility and make it better than it's ever been. And we will be rest assured that we will be in a position in the future to make sure we are not back in this position again. So I apologize you had to sit here through all the proceedings of this evening. But I thank you for being patient to listen to what the solution possibly could be. Now, the last thing I will address concerning this issue is what will the millage pay for? I say capital improvement projects. So this is what I'm proposing. The parking lot needs to be repaved, part of it. That'd be a small micro pave, and expanded. Actually put lighting in the parking lot and actually line it so we can have efficiency. So people can actually park the right way and get as many people in that ice arena as we can. Number 2, obviously the chiller needs to be replaced and updated. The hope is with an updated chiller, we have no more ice issues. And it'll be a modernized system that we can control and more energy efficient. Number 3, revamping common spaces within the ice arena. That's restrooms, that's locker rooms, that's adding on an additional shower facility and more locker room space to accommodate those that come there and play. I understand it's pretty cramped. And we also have to follow some standards with the Michigan Athletic Association or whatever concerning referees. So that's what part of that will be. Some of you are probably using the same toilet that your grandma used if you were a kid in here tonight. So, also, and lastly, we'll be insulating the ice arena itself on the inside. So we can build on to the ice availability in the year. The hope would be that we can run ice from January all the way to May, and then we shut it down, and then we're running back into October, picking up hopefully about 2 months or 8 weeks worth of ice that could be available to people. And I lied to you, so one last thing. It's my belief that the ice arena should be its own separate enterprise fund. What does that mean? Just like the electric fund, you can't take electric funds to go pay for the ice arena outright. I can't take water funds and go pay for the ice arena. You can't do that. It's its own separate fund. There are ways to do certain things, but you just can't do it outright. This would make it its own fund. So any funds that were raised in the ice arena, which I will also point out is not solvent and does not make money for the city. It actually costs the city money. And there's only a few times it has made money. But on general principles, we've had to transfer money from the general fund to pay for operations of that facility. That's just a fact, bottom line. We need to turn that around. Respecting the price issue, we gotta make sure we're careful, but we also need to make sure those funds can stay in that facility, so we can use those upfront costs to cover other issues we have there, including that fund that the millage passes. With those added ice time frames on there, I believe we can turn that table. In addition to that, the energy efficiency we'll be having will also save us some money. So that's the bottom line. We need to have a millage if we want to save the ice arena. I know everybody in here wants to save it, and I believe we will save it. And that's the answer. That's all I have for you, and I will be glad to answer any questions, not right now, and I will stay after for you, and I will answer your questions here tonight if you want to stay here. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, you wanted to keep the building open then?
Well, of course, the building would stay open, yes.
All right.
If the millage passes, yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
We're not done yet, Matt, thank you though. Okay, I will, before I have the city attorney speak, I will, remind council members that, once the meeting is adjourned, citizens may stay here, but city council members, we need to leave, because we're not in an open meeting and we don't want to, do any, open meetings acts, with a quorum. So, as we adjourn, please, at least council members, exit the building. With that, Mr. City Attorney, do you have?
Nothing further, thanks.
No, you don't want to applaud my legal chair? No, okay.
Very good.
All right, with that, I will accept, or I will entertain a motion for adjournment. All right, Dave makes a motion to adjourn. Support. All right, Tracy supports. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.